What's happening, people? It's your girl Minna. Welcome back to the channel. I can't even say welcome back to the daily dose of Minna because I ain't been streaming daily. I have not been streaming daily, but I do apologize, and I hope you guys kind of understand. I kind of explained it last week on the stream as to why I don't stream daily during Ramadan. So I hope you lot understand. But big up to everyone that's locked in. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new here. I've been so inactive on the channel during Ramadan that like people are unsubscribing. Why are you guys unsubscribing, man? Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. Big up to Tariq in the chat, says salam and salam, Tariq. I hope you're doing well. MUFC40 says long time no see, auntie. Hope you are doing fine. I'm good. I'm good, alhamdulillah. Let me know how your Ramadan is going if you are observing the month of Ramadan. How's the fasting been? Have you been struggling? Has it been all right? I think it's been all right, especially because, you know, the timing is not that long here in the UK. It's about 12-ish hours. It's quite difficult when I travel for like work, when I'm like, so I've broken my fast on a train, I've broken my fast in an airport, I've broken my fast in like random places just because I'm always on the go, on my way to a shoot, on my way home from a shoot, etc, etc. But alhamdulillah, I can't complain too much. Make sure you don't make the most of the last 10 nights. For those of you who observe Ramadan, be sure to make the most of the last 10 nights of Ramadan, whether it's praying Tarawih, whether it's, you know, praying Tahajjud. Just make sure you indulge in a lot of good deeds, Eid is not that far away as well. I feel like Ramadan has just flown by, guys. I don't know what it is. I feel like the months just fly by, just generally speaking. But I feel like with Ramadan, it was the first day, second day, and then I blinked and it was like day 16. And now we're already on we're going into day 21 now, depending on when you started fasting. Time flies. Time actually flies. May we be allowed to see more Ramadans as well in the near future. I'm enjoying fasting in Riyadh. The weather is really nice. I really wish I could be in Saudi right now. I really, really wish that I could be at Umrah. Because I went Umrah, like it wasn't during Ramadan when I went, but I can't imagine what it's like to actually go to Mecca or Medina during Ramadan. Like I have to experience it one day. I really, really have to experience it one day. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button as well and be sure to subscribe. I am gonna try my best during the international break to stream every single day. Now, I already said the tough thing about streaming during Ramadan is trying to find the right time to stream, because, you know, if it's during fasting hours, I don't want to sit there talking too much. My mouth's gonna get dry, you know, my voice is gonna get croaky. And then, you know, after fasting hours finish, I'd rather do other stuff than, you know, stream. No disrespect to you guys, but, you know, there's other things to do during Ramadan. So it's all about finding balance. But I promise you, for the next week during international break, I'm gonna try my best to do daily dose of Minna every single day, despite the fact that during international break there's not really much to talk about. There's not, like, I'm shocked that there's a lot to talk about today, but maybe that's because I haven't streamed for a long time, so I have so much to talk about. Maybe I should do that. It's hard talking on camera while fasting. It is like right now, you know, I'm not, you know, fasting hours is over, so I can drink water on stream. I won't do that just in case some people, you know, who are based in the US or something are probably watching and they're still fasting. But it is hard to, you know, I really wanted to do a watch along for the women's game, but it's hard to do it during fasting hours because I'm sitting there for 2.5 hours just talking and talking. It's not easy, man. And that's why, guys, you have to hit the like button. You have to hit the like button. And that's why also I respect, shout out to the people that still stream during Ramadan and still post every single day. Shout out to Saeed, because he still does his streams daily, 2-3 times a day, breaking his fast on stream, because, you know, it clashes, you know, if the time of Maghrib is at the time of when he does, you know, Mandem Talk or Straight Jacket Podcast. I haven't been on Straight Jacket Podcast since Ramadan started because it's at the same time as, you know, the time that you break your fast, and I'd rather just, you know, sit down and break my fast off camera rather than doing it on camera. So shout out to the people that actually, you know, commit to the cause of content even during Ramadan, because, guys, I'm not kidding. It's not easy. It's not easy. But I'm gonna try my best to be consistent. Again, there was a time when I used to stream every single day, and during this month it just feels, it kind of feels, I don't want to say unusual, but unheard of. I do have a video dropping tomorrow, inshallah, so make sure you guys check that out. I realized that if I'm not doing daily streams, I can still post content. That's what I tend to forget. There's no real new news. That's a tongue twister. There's no real new news on Manchester United. There isn't, but of course it's it's international break. So during international break, because Man United, in my opinion, left on a high going into the international break, 2 wins, coming off of 2 wins going into the international break. There's nothing devastating or a crisis happening at Manchester United that journalists can report on. So what can they report on? They can report on transfers. That's all they can report on. Transfer news, transfer links, transfer rumors. We've been linked to about, I want to say maybe 20 players, or maybe no, 20 is being a bit dramatic. Maybe like about 15 players since the international break started. I mean, Kenan Yildiz is probably the name that I'm shocked to see on the name of players that Manchester United are linked to. Not because I don't think he's a good player. I actually think he's a good player. I know Juve they're not doing that well at the moment in comparison to maybe what Juve fans expected, or maybe what the Italian league was expecting from them. He's a good talent, another young talent with a high ceiling. And I'm not too sure. I want to know what you guys think. Is that the path that United should be going down when it comes to signing talents? Now, I've had my fair share of opinion when it comes to this, that Man United need to find the right balance of players when it comes to young players with high ceiling and high potential and ready-made products. They need to find that balance, the good balance. Finding a talent like Aiden Heaven or a talent like Lenny Yoro, it's all nice and good because you can see on the horizon what they potentially can become. But Manchester United cannot have a starting 11 of potentials. That I don't think that's feasible or sustainable, in my opinion. So just for some information on Kenan Yildiz, if you guys do not know, plays for Juventus. Damasio reporting that Manchester United are interested in signing Kenan Yildiz. Juventus might sacrifice him even if they qualify for Champions League. Now, it's also been reported that he has a price tag of in and around 70 million euros. I would be very shocked, very, very shocked if United was to go for him and spend 70 million on him. Now, you look at the market of players that United are linked to, and again, like I said, quite a lot of them are young players. I'm talking about the Xavi Simons, those kind of players. You lot might think I'm crazy, but I think United could have a shot of signing Cole Palmer. Like, you lot might think I'm crazy. The only reason why I'm saying that is because I saw I think it was an interview. I saw an interview or quotes from an interview that the young Brazilian player Estavio that they've just signed, or they've signed, I think, last season. I saw an interview his father did, and his father was talking about the fact that they signed with Chelsea because Chelsea was the only team that saw him as a 10. And I'm thinking, Cole Palmer clearly ain't got a long time left at Chelsea. Clearly, they are going to look to move him on in the coming transfer windows. I also keep up with, outside of Manchester United, I keep up with a lot of football teams. And it's been reported that they will have to sell to sign this summer. And I know that there's a lot of players for them on the chopping block. I'm not saying that they're going to sell Cole Palmer, but United should go and test the market there and see if there's a possibility of signing Cole Palmer. I'm being dead serious, guys. I am being dead serious. Because if you're going to spend 70 million on a player, I'd rather use, and especially like a creative player, a creative outlet in particular for Manchester United, I'd rather you go and spend 70 million on a player who you know what they're going to give you game in, game out. Now, people could argue, Chelsea fans could argue the situation that Cole Palmer has been in, or the lack of production over the last month or so from Cole Palmer. But with Cole Palmer, you know what you're getting. It's not about the potential, because he's already, I think, he's already reached the potential that he has. Next is the next step up. It's the next step up for him in terms of what he can produce, his output, etc. When I think of a young player like Kenan Yildiz, I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's reached or has even scratched the surface yet of the potential that he can be. And that is my worry with, young players. Even if you look at other players just in Europe, young players in Europe, I feel like Zaire Emery is another young talent who I think has scratched the surface of his potential, and it's all about the next step up. But then you look at Arda Güler, who's at Real Madrid, and he's not getting half of the chances that maybe a Yildiz is or Zaire Emery is. So as a result, Arda Güler's the potential that he can be, he's nowhere near even scratching the surface of it yet. So my point is that if you're going to spend 70 million, if Juve genuinely put in a price tag on Kenan Yildiz for 70 million, I think Manchester United should go and have a look at other markets first before they fully kind of go all in for him. Palmer would be 100 million. Yeah, and maybe. Yeah, probably. Yeah, he probably will be 100 million. Another player that Manchester United are reportedly interested, and this is another report coming out from Germany, is that Manchester United want to sign Borussia Dortmund midfielder Felix Nemcha this summer, and they are willing to pay 40 million pounds. Now, guys, I'm not joking when I say that today when I was reading Manchester United news like I do every single day, I've lost track of how many players United have been linked to Yildiz Nemcha. We're going to go and talk about, the potential swap for Hojlund and Osimhen, Sancho leaving, Rashford leaving, Man United being linked to Semenyo. There is a lot of transfer news just flying around in and around the Manchester United atmosphere right now. But I think it is clear as day that Manchester United will make some moves in the next window, in the summer transfer window. And this is why I always say that with Ruben Amorim, it's just key for him to just get to the summer. He just needs to get to the summer to get the opportunity to bring in players that he likes, players that can work around the system. And I hate the fact that, unfortunately, football has become so system-based. It's become very rigid. There's no room for maneuver when it comes to, having talents. You can have a great talent. Man United could have a great player right now, yeah, and find nowhere to fit him in. I can mention Kobbie Mainoo is an example. I think Ruben Amorim is going to struggle to find a place for Kobbie Mainoo. We're going to come to that when we speak about, the talks about him being one of the players that Man United could look to sell. But that is one thing I don't like about system style football. It's very rigid. There's no room for maneuver. It's either you got it or you don't. And in that case, if you don't, you could be a great player, but you're not fit for the system, the club will sell you and you can go on and flourish elsewhere. That's one thing that I really dislike about football. I was listening, I can't remember where I saw a debate about basically football in, the 2000s in comparison to now, and, what makes managers like Ancelotti differ from what makes managers like Ancelotti differ from managers like Pep, etc. And I think it's the rigidness in football system. And I think Thomas Tuchel touched upon it today as well in his interview. Now, David Ornstein reported on a potential swap deal between Rasmus Hojlund and Victor Osimhen. In the last hour or so, shout out to United District, but they've kind of downplayed that and said that it's not really true about the fact that Man United could look to sell Hojlund. There's quite a few journalists that are suggesting that Manchester United could look to move Hojlund on in the summer. But United District also reporting that Manchester United are downplaying those rumours, and he's kind of held in a high regard at Manchester United. But on the topic of Osimhen, I think one thing that brings Victor Osimhen into the avenue of Manchester United conversations is the fact that Napoli want to get rid of him. Like, the fact that Napoli want to get rid of him, and that will be a reason why, Manchester United will be in the conversations of Victor Osimhen every single time. Because it's funny, guys. Maybe I don't consume a lot of other football fan content because I don't see Arsenal fans talking about Osimhen. I'm seeing them talking about Isaac. I'm not seeing Chelsea fans talking about him. It's just Manchester United is the only team that is popping up in and around Victor Osimhen's name. And David Ornstein was quoted saying, certainly it's an interesting proposition. I'm not sure how realistic it is. So it does sound a lot more opinion-based rather than factual. He said, my presumption is they'll be wanting to build with him rather than bringing in a much older striker in what would be a very complicated deal. I do expect Victor Osimhen to be on the move, given that Napoli let him go to Galatasaray and the future is really uncertain for him there. United have been linked, but I'm not sure how realistic it is that United would let go of Hojlund. He is one who would raise some funds, but he would not produce a profit on the book value that he represents. So I think it's more likely United will raise funds elsewhere, as attractive a deal as that might sound for transfer lovers. So he's kind of playing it down and saying that it sounds like a good proposition and an interesting one, but there's so many factors in and around this idea that Man United could do a swap deal for the two players. You're talking about the financial aspect of it, number one. Victor Osimhen is going to be on a lot more higher wages than a Rasmus Hojlund, number one. That's the first part. Number two, you can talk about the agent fees, etc., etc. But you can also talk about the fact that getting Rasmus Hojlund off of your books from a book value perspective, unless you're getting a straight transfer for him and you're getting cash for him, it does not make any sense because he hasn't been at Manchester United for a long time. This is his, what? Why the hell? This is his second season. My mind went blank for a second. This is his second season at Manchester United, which means his net book value will still be very high. It will still be very high. They would only have cut off 2 years worth of his 6-year contract from his transfer fee or his book value, if you want to call it that. So unless Manchester United are probably able to get about 50 million for him, give or take, that is what it would have to be for Manchester United to be able to make any reasonable dent in the book value part of Rasmus Hojlund's situation. And on top of that, it's the fact that they would probably have to sign another striker alongside Victor Osimhen for depth. Now, with Chido, I think Chido will be a backup option next season. I do think that. But I also have to take into consideration the fact that Joshua Zirkzee is not a striker. So if Man United are looking for strikers next season, they're going to need a backup striker alongside their main one and alongside Chido, who will probably be a third choice again. A real striker will be bought and Rasmus will be number 2. I think that's an ideal situation for everybody in this. I genuinely think that is an ideal situation for everybody. I think as much as I have my concerns about Rasmus Hojlund, I don't think selling him is going to make a heap of a difference for Manchester United financially unless they're able to bring in an amazing number 2. And there's not the striker market out there. There are a lot of strikers that will be available in the summer, but you also have to take into consideration the contributing factors for Manchester United that could potentially hinder them signing any top strikers. The fact that there's a possibility United might not be in Champions League football next season. We might not be in any European football next season. Those kind of factors could, you look at Gyökeres, Sesko, Osimhen, you look at I'm not even going to mention Isak, but Alexander Isak, you look at Vlahovic, you look at all these strikers that could be available in the summer transfer window, and they are all probably looking to go to a destination of competitiveness. They're probably looking to go to a destination where they are going to compete for some sort of silverware. I'm not saying Man United are not going to compete for silverware next season, but I'm saying that the opportunity to compete for silverware next season might be less, given the fact that Man United might not be in any sort of European football unless they win the Europa League. We can get David on a free. You know what? I watched Jonathan David. Yeah, I was watching him in the Champions League the other day, and I've watched him quite a few times this season. And I think there's a reason why every summer his name pops up in the transfer window for strikers that are available, and every summer he finds himself still playing at Lille. And I don't mean it in a disrespectful way because he's young. He's 25. Sorry, he's 25 years old. Yeah, he's approaching the prime time of his footballing career. He's given Lille 20 goals, every season, right? But if you watch him or his all-roundedness outside of his ability to poach goals from inside the box, I actually did a video with Sky Sports, and I said that I could see Jonathan David going to, I think we did a video in January with Sky Sports, and it was about free agents in the summer. And I said Jonathan David would make sense for a team like West Ham. That's where I said it'd either be a team like West Ham, or I said a backup option to Isak at Newcastle. That could make sense. I don't see any of the big clubs signing him as a full-time starting striker. At West Ham, you guys know West Ham loves a number 9. And unfortunately, with Antonio's situation, I could see him going to West Ham. I genuinely could see him going to West Ham. I don't see him staying in the French league. He might choose to stay with Lille. But every single summer, his name pops up on the list of players that could leave their club, and every single summer he finds himself still playing at Lille. And like I said, it's no disrespect to Lille or to him, but maybe he's just not the caliber of strikers that clubs are looking for. And I think a lot of teams will be looking for strikers this summer. I think Arsenal will be looking for a striker, of course. I think Liverpool will be looking for a striker. I actually think maybe Barcelona could, like, depending on how Lewandowski's time continues at Barcelona, I'm thinking they might be looking for another forward. Maybe not necessarily a striker, but Barcelona could be looking for another forward. In the Premier League alone, Chelsea will be looking for a striker. United will be looking for a striker. Arsenal will be looking for a striker. If Isaac leaves, Newcastle will be looking for a striker. A lot of teams will be looking for strikers in Europe. And you look at all of the strikers that could be available, and you look at all the teams that will be looking for strikers, and it kind of smallens the market of strikers, which is why United have to get it right. They have to get it right. Hi, Mino. Happy Ramadan. Happy Ramadan to you too, man. I hope you are doing well. I think Barca will get Gyökeres. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know, you know. I don't think so. Another player that Manchester United have been linked to. Bloody hell, the links just don't stop, guys. Be sure to hit the like button, by the way, guys. If you just come through, we'll be back with the daily dose of Minute every single time. Every single day, sorry. I think I might do the daily dose of Minute at the usual time of 4 p.m. Even though that's about that's about 2 hours before I break my fast. So by the time I finish the stream, I'll have about an hour to make iftar, which is all right. I can do that. Making iftar, by the way, guys, I know this is so off topic, but making iftar with an air fryer just makes everything so much easier. You can cook in 25 minutes max. Like, you can cook your entire everything that you're eating. And during Ramadan, my goal has been to not eat oily food, samosas, you know, all this oily food that we like to consume during Ramadan. I have not had one samosa. Today is day 20. Yeah, we just finished day 20 of Ramadan. I have not had one samosa during Ramadan. I'm so proud of myself. I am so proud of myself. We're eating healthy this year, guys. Big up to Steffi in the chat. I hope you're doing well, Steffi. Big up to Theo as well. Another player that Manchester United have been linked to. I mean, we linked him last summer. We linked him again this summer. Manchester United are still keen on the idea of signing Xavi Simons. The club have never lost focus on him. In addition to a striker, United are looking for a versatile attacking midfielder. Leipzig are demanding 67 million pounds, by the way, 67 million pounds. And this is where my confusion comes, because didn't he just join RB Leipzig in January? Literally, he just joined RB Leipzig in January. I know he's been there on loan for like 2 seasons, but he just joined there on a permanent basis. They brought him for 50 million euros. So that's about 42 million pounds. They're looking to make about a 20 million profit on him. Takeaway allowed during Ramadan? Yeah, takeaways allowed. Takeaways allowed. His numbers are not that good. Let's look at his numbers this season, because what are we judging an attacking midfielder on? Are we judging them on goals? Are we judging them on assists? Are we judging them on the eye test? Are we judging them on, you know, chances created and XA and XG and XS and whatever the hell expected stuff that people like to come up with nowadays? What are we judging a player like Xavi Simons on? Because I like Xavi Simons in his first loan spell at Leipzig. I really liked him then. I feel like Leipzig has been they've fluctuated a little bit over the last year or two in terms of what they were doing in Europe in particular. Now, if you're looking at just this season alone, 25 games, 8 goals, 5 assists, yeah? That, for a creative player, if you're looking for a creative player, then 5 assists across nearly 25 games, that's a bad return. That means you're creating what, every 5 games? Every 5 games you're getting an assist, give or take. And even so, a lot of that goals and assists that we're talking about has come in the league. None in Champions League, or the number of games that he's played. He hasn't even played a lot of games in the Champions League. But also, I think it's his injury problem. He's missed he's missed bare games. As United fans, you know we're obsessed with looking at injury records. This season is, to be honest, the worst season that he's had in terms of his injury record in his professional career. He's missed 13 games. He was out injured from October to January. Despite that, guys, keep in mind, despite that, Leipzig still decided to sign him on a permanent basis, yeah? Just keep that in mind. Now, someone said it here in the chat. I'd rather we get Cunha or Kudus for similar money. I don't think Kudus is going to cost £60 million. I don't think Cunha is going to cost 50, 60 million. I think Cunha might cost £60 million if Wolves go down, but I don't know how likely it is that Wolves are going down. I think it looks like Ipswich, Southampton guaranteed, Ipswich, and I think likely Leicester is going down. So Wolves might stay up by the skin of their teeth. And if they do stay up, it will make signing Cunha a lot harder. And also, with just on that point as well, a player like Kudus, a player like Cunha, Man United will not be the only player, the only teams that will be interested in those players. If Mohamed Salah leaves, Liverpool, I think Kudus could be on the market for Liverpool. If Mbeumo, another player who I like Mbeumo, but if Man United are not in Champions League next season, he might not want to leave Brentford to come to Manchester United. He might not want to. Now, of course, there's other factors that contribute to that, you know, the financial gains, you know, the wage structure, etc., etc. He could do, but I don't think Man United will be the only team, similar to the striker thing. I don't think United will be the only team that is looking for a creative player. And on top of that, can I say, if it's not just what is Man United looking for exactly when it comes to one of the 10s? What are we looking for? Are we looking for someone that's going to provide support to the striker as like a second striker? So someone that's going to get you goals? Are we looking for someone that is creative, that is going to create? Are we looking at someone that can do a bit of both and can get around the pitch? They're quite fluid. They can get up. What exactly are we looking for? Because I can't lie, I don't know how likely, and this might be a hot take, I have a feeling Ahmad might be right wing back next season. I don't know how likely Man United are to buy a right wing back. I like the idea of Frimpong, but the reality of Frimpong is too different. You know, it's completely different to what I think. And if Manchester United do see Ahmad as that right wing back potentially for next season, then I definitely see Man United needing a balance in those two 10s. However, with saying that, if we envision the transfer window as Ahmad being the one of the 10s, I don't see the point of signing a Xavi Simons. If I'm being totally honest, I wouldn't mind a player like Mbeumo. I wouldn't like a player like Cunha, but it wouldn't make sense to have a Xavi Simons and an Ahmad. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But let me know your thoughts, because I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of people are keen on the idea of Xavi Simons. Quenda was a big miss, in my opinion. But the more that comes out about the Quenda deal, I saw a report that said today that Manchester United could have had the option to hijack it, but they chose not to because of the financial package and all of that. Anywhere Mendes is, Mendes, he's not a good guy. He's not a good guy. So anywhere you are doing business with Mendes, better be careful, because I'm sorry, how did Chelsea sign Quenda and other random player from Sporting for 75 million? We know what Mendes is on, we know what Mendes is on. It was reported, he had involvement with the Lenny Yoro and Ugarte thing. You get Lenny Yoro, you sign him, then if you want him, you have to get Ugarte too. All of that rumors, But if Man United wanted to hijack the Quenda deal, I genuinely think they could have. I genuinely think they could have. The package in itself was a lot. It was quite excessive. But also, I think Sporting gained a lot more from dealing with Chelsea than they probably would have gained from dealing with Manchester United. Why? Because they get to keep Quenda for another season. And I don't know if you lot remember, but they did something similar with Malo Gusto. They did something similar with Malo Gusto as well, where they signed him, but he joined later to Chelsea. Excuse me. This is how Chelsea, can allow teams to feel like, they're gaining something from selling their player. And also, with Sporting, they got another year to kind of bring in a replacement for Quenda, and also they will probably have the financial means to do so because they've already probably gained financially from Chelsea. So I still genuinely believe if Manchester United wanted to sign Quenda, they could have. But I just think that the benefits for Sporting leaned in the direction of Chelsea than it did Manchester United. I don't think Manchester United would have paid that fee, nor would they have taken another player off their books. And I don't think they would have agreed for him to join a whole season later, because Manchester United are in a situation where they need people now. There's no such thing as I don't see Man United signing anyone with the idea of them joining a year later, unless they're a young player, they're 17 or 18-year-old still developing. We've seen it with Diego Leon, the Paraguay left back, etc. That's the only time that I see that situation happening. Another young player that Manchester United are linked to, and this is coming from the Standard, saying that Manchester United are lining up a move for Sunderland's Job Bellingham. I told you guys, we are just being linked to everybody. We are being linked to everybody. It's becoming a circus. I get it. International break. You know, I need stuff to talk about, guys. You guys need stuff to talk about. The reporters need stuff to talk about. But let's and no disrespect, because I actually like Joe Bellingham. I think he's a decent player. But again, Man United, I'm worried about the path that they're going down, in terms of young players or just signing young players. You know, Man United, I dare you to sign anyone over the age of 25. Sign one person in the summer over the age of 25. I dare you. Another player that Man United have been linked to from Frankfurt is Hugo Ekitike. I hope I said his name right. Please correct me if I said it wrong. However, some journalists are downplaying it, suggesting that this is a move that's not likely to happen. Now, one thing about Frankfurt, guys, they know how to buy and they know how to sell. They've made 150 million just from selling Kolo Muani and Marmoush in the last 2 windows. They're probably looking to get 60 million for this guy as well. They are probably looking to get 60 million for Hugo Ekitike. Now, I think by the way, I watched Frankfurt a bit this season. I haven't watched Frankfurt since Marmoush left, but I know that he was playing in a kind of 2-man striker pick and roll, if you want to call it, with Marmoush. Yeah. There's something about there's something aesthetic about players like him on the ball. Maybe it's me being a history merchant and, you know, liking the way that he dribbles, because it reminds me of strikers back in the day. Big up to Uthman, says, oh shit, Mina streaming the holy month. I was unaware. Salam to the chat. Salam, Uthman. I hope you're doing well. I know I've only done this is my 2nd stream this month, guys. I'm a disgrace. I'm not a disgrace actually, but I am a disgrace. This is my 2nd stream. This will probably be the lowest number of views I'll get in a month, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Let's talk about. I have a question to ask you guys. I actually have a question. I wanted to tweet it, but I didn't want to attract too many people in my mentions, because I've seen this whole debate. Before we talk about the Sancho and Rashford thing, I've seen this whole debate about whether Bruno Fernandes is a Manchester United legend. I feel like people throw around the word a legend. In my opinion, if you haven't won the best of silverware at Manchester United, how can I now say you're a legend? An icon. Maybe I can say you're an icon. You know, like how in FIFA Ultimate, FC 25, Ultimate Team, you got icons and you got heroes, yeah? How can I call you a legend of Manchester United and you've never won a Premier League or a Champions League? I think legend status is if you've done that multiple times. Multiple times. Like, there's some players, in my opinion, that I don't think, like David De Gea, for example, has won 1 Premier League title. Yeah, 1 Premier League title. And even in my eyes, I think he was a great servant. Would I say legend? No, because when you think of legends, I think of the Van der Sars and the Schmeichels. I don't think about David De Gea, no disrespect. But if Bruno Fernandes is classed as a legend, then Marcus Rashford has every right to be classed as a Manchester United legend. If that's if that's the avenue that we want to go down. I feel like everyone is wanting to defend Bruno because a lot of people criticize him wrongly, and I totally understand that because I defend Bruno sometimes, especially of recent weeks. But let's not inflate what he's done at Manchester United. A lot of people are saying if he was in the Sir Alex Ferguson era, we would have appreciated him more. Okay, but he's not. He's not. It's like me saying, but if Paul Pogba was in the Sir Alex Ferguson era, we would have appreciated him more. But he wasn't. So we have to take what we got at face value. So it's the same for Bruno. I see, shout out to Marcel in it, because I haven't seen Marcel for a long time. Haven't spoken to him in a long time. I think maybe the last time I spoke to him was like back in the summer. But I saw him tweeting saying that Roy Keane would be vice captain to Bruno Fernandes. I was like, what? The same Roy Keane who has won a lot of silverware with Manchester United. The same Roy Keane, by the way, who would slap a man up in the tunnel for his teammate. Like, let's be honest, guys. There is a lot of good that Bruno has done, but until you win a Premier League or like, bring me the Premier League, bring me the Champions League, then I will say you're a legend. It's like basketball. You don't know I like basketball. It's like me saying a player that has never brought a championship to the Lakers can get his jersey hung in the rafters. Absolutely not. You get your jersey hung when you've done something for the club. That's of value. That's when you've earned it. Anyways, I'm glad some of you lot agree with me. Imagine Minna, they want man to work for these legends days. Man like Bruno, 0 league titles or European titles anywhere. Allow it. No, 100%. I actually, for once, I think we might all be on the same level. I think we might be all on the same wavelength with this, because I cannot believe what I've been seeing the last couple of days about Bruno being a legend. And I feel like as football fans, we're dying for sentiment, right? I generally, as fans, we are very guilty of the idea of sentiment, right? Because when Bruno Fernandes leaves Manchester United, if he never won silverware, people will rewrite it to act like he played in the worst era of Manchester United football. But this was Manchester United era of football that was in Champions League. We lost the Europa League final. Like, it's not like we were just sitting in and around 8th, 9th, 10th for the entirety of his season. Yes, Bruno Fernandes, I understand that he's approaching that time in his career where he needs to be winning silverware, because time is ticking, yeah? Time is ticking. His body clock is ticking as well. But with saying that, we don't need to rewrite history and then throw in the notion of, I saw someone say Roy Keane couldn't do what Bruno has done in this Manchester United team. And I was thinking, what is it that he's done exactly? I get it. He's scored and assisted. And you know what? He's in great company. He's also been available every single game for Manchester. Like, there is stuff that Bruno has done that deserves plaudits, right? But we don't need to overinflate it and now start saying, oh my God, Roy Keane couldn't do what Bruno did. Because I don't even think, this might be another hot take of mine, but I don't even think Bruno would have survived in that era that Roy Keane played in, where, man, it was normal, yeah, for midfielders to be roughing each other up. Imagine Bruno Fernandes playing in the 2000s, guys. When he now gets tackled and stays on the ground for 10 seconds. Imagine what he would be doing if we swapped Roy Keane and Bruno Fernandes. 2 different eras, 2 different times in terms of football. So it's very hard to compare. But just imagine that. I just feel like sometimes we're just, I don't know, man, fans, we're funny people. I respect Bruno and Rashford, but they have not done enough for me to laud the rubbish we've been served and they've been cooperative in. I hear it. I just think that, and I said it at the beginning, I think if Bruno is classed as a Manchester United legend, so is Marcus Rashford. Fabrizio Romano, by the way, make sure you guys hit the like button. You guys know the rules. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat, and then you hit the like button. We're gonna do daily dose of minute every single day now. We're back. We're gonna be back with the daily streams, guys. I've just been lazy throughout the month of streaming and making videos. Now I feel you shouldn't talk about football because this is a bad take. Do you genuinely, what do you think is bad that I said? What do you think is bad that I said that Bruno wouldn't survive in the era that Roy Keane was in? Or that I said that if Bruno is a legend, then Rashford is a legend? Because if I'm not wrong, if we're going off of what they've done for a club, and this is not me at all being Bruno FC or Rashford FC, it's just me looking at both sides of the argument. People say, look at the stats that Bruno has. Okay, then look at the stats Rashford has. Okay, but Bruno's won the FA Cup with United and the Carabao. The Carabao, by the way, was his first trophy that he won at Manchester United. Okay, but Rashford won Europa League. He won multiple FA Cups, multiple Carabao Cups. My argument is that if what Bruno has done can get him a legend status, then what Rashford has done should so too. But the thing is, people are blinded by their dislike for Marcus Rashford as a person, and maybe the Marcus Rashford that we've been unfortunate to witness over the last 12 or 18 months. People are so blinded by that dislike that they think that Marcus Rashford has done nothing at Manchester United. Like the way that fans speak about Marcus Rashford, you would think he was a bum. You would think he was a bum at Manchester United. People speak about him like he's done nothing. And I get it. The detachment from him as a player, as a Man United player, has kind of increased over the last 18 or so months because of, his unwillingness to run on the pitch, his, playing out of position and not giving everything. I totally understand that. But I don't think we should downplay his time at Manchester United over the course of 10 years or however long it's been, and give that same respect or give that same plaudit to Bruno Fernandes. And by the way, guys, this is me saying I don't think either of them are legends. I don't think either of them are legends. If this was basketball right now and Marcus Rashford leaves in the summer, I wouldn't hang his jersey in the rafters. I wouldn't hang up his number. I wouldn't retire his number. And the same is for Bruno Fernandes as well, because I don't think they've done enough to be classed as a legend. But I just feel like as fans, are we throwing that legend word around? Let's be honest. Is there one person you can say is a Man United legend since Sir Alex Ferguson retired? Because the person I think closest, that would get closest to being a legend, is David De Gea. Other than that, I don't think there's anyone that United have had in the last 11 or so years since Sir Alex retired that is a legend. Like, yes, I'm not talking about, like Wayne Rooney, who played obviously after Sir Alex left, or Robin Van Persie. I'm talking about people we have signed since Sir Alex Ferguson has left. Bruno isn't a legend, he's a cult hero. I see a lot of people saying that. The Rashford hate is not warranted. I just think it's over the top sometimes. If Bruno needed to win something, he would leave United for a better team, but he's doing the best with what he has. No, but there you go. This is another point. If he wanted to win, or if he needed to win, brother has never won a league title, ever. Never won it in Sporting, never won it at Manchester United. You see, Lukaku left Man United, won a league title. Ibrahimovic joined Manchester United. He had multiple league titles under his belt. Paul Pogba, before he joined Manchester United, had multiple league titles under his belt. This idea that if he needed to win something, he would leave. Bruno Fernandes chose to stay in the summer. I don't know if you guys remember, but Bruno Fernandes chose to stay when reportedly there was offers on the table for him to leave. And he met with Manchester United, to talk about the plan. And they pitched something to him that made him believe, we're going to go out and get superstars, get big players. We're going to basically assemble a great team to compete. And then he signed a bumper contract. But this idea that if he needed to win something, he could leave, he would leave for a better team. Am I being devil's advocate by saying, well, then he needs to win something? Because let me give you an example. Yeah, you might think I'm rambling on, but Ibrahimovic has won a lot in football, right? Ibrahimovic has won a lot in football, but there's one thing that he hasn't won. And that's one thing that I think he downplays not winning. Then Phil Jones is a legend. I don't think Phil Jones is a legend, because I'm not only talking about trophies. I'm talking about the fact that silverware and high-level silverware go hand in hand with stats. They go hand in hand with stats. If you are, for example, Phil Jones won Premier Leagues with Manchester United being a passenger. It's like me saying now, Anderson is a Manchester United legend because he won the Premier League and the Champions League. He won it as being a rotational player in the team. if you're of a legend status, I think you have to be an integral part of a title-winning team, or a UCL winning team. You have to be an integral part. Did Calvin Phillips win Champions League with Man City, guys? Let me double check. Calvin Phillips. Did he win the treble with Manchester City? Let me double check. Yes, he did. Calvin Phillips was at City, yeah, when they won the treble. But guess what? No one's going to call him a City legend because nobody flipping remembers what he did with the team. Anderson was a baller. He was. I liked Anderson. I did like Anderson. I really did like Anderson. But anyways, guys, we got so sidetracked, guys. Let's get back to the picture that's on the screen. We've been rambling about Bruno and Rashford all this time. Manchester United are expecting both Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford to leave Manchester United this summer. It's also reported that Manchester United will let Ruben Amorim decide Jadon Sancho's future in the unlikely event that he returns to Manchester United. It's also reported, on top of that, that Chelsea are willing to pay a premium to send him back to Old Trafford. Goddamn. If there's one player that I'm always going to think, what if, it's Jadon Sancho. I do think, however, this idea of, oh, let's see what he can do in an Amorim system. No. We don't need to see it. We do not need to see it. We've seen what Jadon Sancho has done across this season at Chelsea. There's no way you guys think, oh, it'll be different if he comes back home. It won't. Cut your, what did they say? Cut the ends loose or whatever. Cut your ties and keep it moving. Keep it moving. You know what, for me, the best way to shut up haters, yeah, was if he had a jaw-dropping season at Chelsea. If he was tearing up. The fact that Chelsea are just very inconsistent as well doesn't help. But he's playing a lot of football at Chelsea. He went from being a bench player to being their starting left winger. In a team that the only other left wingers you're up against, one of them got a drug charge in Mudryk. You got Pedro Neto that's been shifted to the right side. There's barely any left wingers that you're competing with. So you've actually become the starting left winger by default. I liked Jadon Sancho, guys. If I went to my cupboard right now and I brought you all the shirts that I have that say Sancho on the back, you would laugh at me. What possessed me to buy Man United shirts that said Sancho when we first signed him? I really thought, guys, that summer, I was like, Varane, Ronaldo, we got Sancho, Pogba, Bruno. I thought, oh my God, Cavani. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is actually it. A couple of years later now, all those shirts that I have in my cupboard, guys, not one of them still play for Manchester United. Ronaldo, Pogba, Sancho, Rashford. All of the shirts that I have that have people's names on the back do not play for Man United anymore. That's why I stopped buying shirt names, guys. I stopped buying shirts with names on the back. Now, if I want a shirt, I either just get my name on the back or I just get it plain. I was this close to buying an Ahmad shirt the other day. This close. And I thought, you know what? Let me not... I'm jinxed. So let me not jinx this as well. Bruno is far beyond Rash. Man United hardly win a match without Bruno since he arrived at Man United. That's not the point. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what... You know what? I feel like I have to do a whole stream to debate this whole legend thing. And I might do it as a call-in show. Sancho ain't built for the Prem. He needs to be a big fish in a small pond to flourish. Where do you think you could see him going? Because a lot of Italian teams... I think he should go back to Dortmund, guys. I genuinely think 25 million, let him go back to Dortmund on a permanent. That's the best case scenario for Manchester United. I don't see him going to the French league. Don't see him surviving the Italian league. Spanish league, nope. That leaves the German league. Or he could go to the Dutch league or the Portuguese league. He could go to the Hungarian league. He could go to the Moldovan league. He can go to the Romanian league. He can go to the Russian league. He can go to the Ukrainian league. He can go to the Malta League. I'm trying to think of all the European countries. He can go to the Bulgarian League. He can go to the Belarus League. He could go to any league. He could join. You know who just signed for a team in the United Arab Emirates? Papi Cisse. He can go and play with Papi Cisse in Abu Dhabi or Al Ain. I think he joined a team in Al Ain. He could go out there. Or he can link up with his boy Dele Alli and go play for Lake Como under Cesc Fabregas, who, by the way, I think Cesc Fabregas is going to be a great manager, guys. Either that or Turkey. I don't even think he's going to Turkey. He's going to be in a swap deal for the young Turk from Juve, mark my words, even though I think Yildiz is overrated. We just spoke about Keane Yildiz at the beginning of the stream. 75 million price tag is a bit mad. I can't lie. That is the price tag for him. But he could go to the weekend league. I know for a fact he got a better team than me on Ultimate Team. I know for a fact Jadon Sancho got a better team than me on Ultimate Team. I genuinely think he'll go to Italy. Dortmund won't have him back. Remember how they gave away his shirt number before they officially let him go? The thing is, Dortmund are smart, guys. Let's go and look at Dortmund on transfer market. Dortmund are a funny team. They like to act broke. And that's my problem with Dortmund. That is my problem with Dortmund, is they love acting broke all the time. When they sell very, very well. Every year they sell very, very well. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Deadass, I'm not even joking. This is ridiculous. Look at this. Casual. 100 million sales. Jadon Sancho. Christian Pulisic. How they sold Christian Pulisic for that price is crazy. Honestly. Are you telling me Pulisic was more expensive than Haaland? But anyways, Aubameyang, Haaland, Mkhitaryan, Götze, Hummels. Then this goes down to more normal prices. But this is a team that obviously they can sell well. They can sell good talents. I just think that they were acting like they couldn't afford, Jadon Sancho and the 40 million price tag that Manchester United had for him. Another player that is reportedly not coming back to Manchester United is Paul Pogba. Fabrizio Romano saying that Paul Pogba is not expected to return to Manchester United as of now. What we do know, though, is that A, he is officially allowed to play for another club. B, he still hasn't signed with a club. C, he's weighing out his options, and it could be, I could see him going to a Marseille. I could see him going to Marseille or something. I think it's very unlikely that he joins a Premier League team. But it would be the biggest stab in the back if he did join a Premier League team. I can't lie. And on top of that, it's reported that he wants to play in the World Cup next summer. So the destination that he goes to is very important. He hasn't played a football game or a competitive 90-minute match in nearly 2 years. He hasn't played a competitive game in a very, very long time. But on the topic of outgoings, what are we saying about Antony, guys? What are we saying about Antony? Do you guys expect him to leave on a permanent? Because it sounds like Real Betis love the idea of him. They like him so much. Like the way that the president keeps talking about him is it's like he's one of the greatest players that they've ever signed. However, Real Betis want to take Antony on loan for another season by taking a greater portion of his salary. So they're willing to spend more on his salary without having to actually pay a loan fee for him. And the decisive factor for Real Betis is whether they qualify for Champions League football or not. And they actually stand, let's see where they stand in, they are 6th place right now in La Liga. But guys, I'll be real, the gap between 4th and 6th is not that big. It's about 8 points. They are currently in a Conference League spot in La Liga, and this is all dependent whether they can afford to keep Antony. Is all dependent on whether they qualify for Champions League football. I think this will be another. I think he'll leave again in the summer. I think the way that I see things with Manchester United is if it's a guarantee that you are not going to be a part of Amorim or Amorim's system, then you will find a way. They will find a way out for you. And it sounds like there's a lot of players on the chopping block. It sounds like there's a lot of players on the chopping block. Antony, Marcus Rashford, Casemiro. There is so many players on the chopping block. But you know what name kind of shocks me the most that keeps popping up? Is this name here. This name keeps popping up, guys. And I can't lie, I'm feeling a bit uneasy about it because I think there might be some truth to it. I'm not saying that I want it to happen. I think there might be some truth to it. Because it's one thing that, you know, it's one thing that is reported. I feel like Manchester United are prepping fans for a shock this summer, whether it's Maino or Garnacho. The shock factor for Rashford, I think, has disappeared after December, after him being dropped by Amorim, and after him being dropped by Amorim, after him doing that interview, etc. I think the shock factor of Rashford leaving is gone. But I think there's a shock factor in the summer transfer window for us Manchester United fans. It will be Maino or it will be Garnacho. And if it's Maino, I will feel like Manchester United have been planting the seeds of Maino's departure because, you know, there was reports about him, you know, Chelsea being interested in him a couple of months ago. Then there was the reports about his contract negotiations and how he's demanding in excess of 200k. So they're already putting it out there that, oh, he's asking for a lot of money. They're already, and I think the only thing that will do is villainize him. It will turn him into a media villain. And you guys know, I'm sorry, but you know what a young black male footballer in the British media, you already know how they're going to be spoken about. And now it's been reported by multiple different journalists that Kobbie Mainoo could be on this list of players that are sellable in the summer. There's not a lot of people that are not sellable. But equally, we're saying that a lot of the names that we're seeing is names that we expected to see. Casemiro, Onana, Marcus Rashford, you know, Jadon Sancho. These are names that we expected to see. And going back to what I said at the beginning of the stream about a rigid football system and a rigid style of football, you need to have the right players. You need to have the right players. And sometimes you can have a very good player, but if the player is not fitted for the system, it's either sink or swim for that player. And I don't know. I look at Amorim's system all the time and I always wonder, where does Kobbie fit? I said this when Amorim first joined Manchester United. I said I'm curious to see where Kobbie sits because Kobbie for me is not a 6. We've seen him play in a 10 this season and he excelled there in one game. But Manchester United, I think, will be on the market for more versatile 10s, more natural 10s. So I'm very worried about what the future could hold for Kobbie Mainoo in the summer transfer window. But that's just another one or another name that we kind of have to, I think, keep an eye on. Sell Mainoo, as he won't fit into Amorim's system. If we get 60 million for him, that would pay for a new striker. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that idea of selling him to finance a striker. You're meant to have these, maybe it's because I love a good academy story. I love a good romance story, right? So the idea of academy kid, born and bred Manc, coming through the system into the first team and then going on to do great things with the team. Maybe it's that story that I'm in love with that makes me think that a situation like this in the comment below is not an ideal situation. Maybe, I don't know. But that's just my thought. I do think, though, we're definitely going to see over the next couple of months more and more stories popping up about Man United exploring options for Kobbie Mainoo. Because they've emphasized the idea or the notion of selling to buy. And what better things to sell out of your players than your academy players? They did it with Scott McTominay last summer. They're going to do it again with Marcus Rashford. They might look at doing it with Kobbie Mainoo, because that is a comfortable situation for them to be in, having assets to sell, such as academy players. Chelsea flourished off of it when Clearlake took over. They sold so many of their academy players. I don't really agree with it, but each to their own on that one. Listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comment section right now, yes or no. Shall I do daily dose of Middah every single day, like I used to do it before during Ramadan? Or should I just wait for Ramadan to finish and then we can go back to the daily structure, 4 o'clock every single day? But I do have a video dropping tomorrow, inshallah, on the best 10 players in Europe right now. Best 10 players. Spoiler, There's no Manchester United player in that list. Yeah, let me just spoil the video for you guys in case someone says to me, "Where's Bruno? Where's Onana? Where's De Ligt? Where's Mizra?" There's no Man United player in the best 10 players in Europe right now. So make sure you check out that video when it drops. Turn on your post notifications so that when I go live or when I drop a video, you lot get notified. If you lot want to get this shirt, shout out to the team, FC Palestina, that sent it to me. I've had this shirt for a long time actually, but shout out to them if you want to. They're doing a thing where if you buy their shirts, all the money goes to charity contributions to help the people in Palestine. So you can buy a nice football shirt, but also help the people of Palestine. So make sure you guys check that out. I'll put the link in the video description as well if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I will be back tomorrow, inshallah, with the daily dose of minna. Hopefully we've got a lot more things to talk about. I'm saying that, yeah, but then if we get something dramatic happening, I'm going to be like, why does Manchester United always give us stuff to talk about? I don't know, man. You guys know what it is. Hit the like button on your way out. I hope you have a wonderful evening and I hope you enjoy the rest of Ramadan, guys. I'm out, guys. Peace.